Hi there, it's Mr. Wedge, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can do a self-portrait in the style of Gustav Klimt. And specifically we're going to make it look like a painting he did called A Portrait of Adele Bloch-Bauer. And yeah, these are all the materials we're going to need for it. So I've got scissors, glue, I've got pencil, magic markers, I've got Sharpie, and I've also got like metallic ones. If you can find those are good. But if you don't have them, that's okay too. And then tempera paint, I've got a cup to put it in, and I printed out a very small photograph of myself. And I've got a ruler. So, alright, here we go. First thing we need to do is put our name on the back, and our class code. So name, and 2 dash something. And that's all you need the pencil for. And we just needed to use pencil because Sharpie would go through the paper, it would leak through. So the next step would be to put a border around this. So I'm just going to make a nice picture frame, and that's what I got a ruler for. So I'm using my Sharpie, and I'll just make, it's up to you how thick it is, but I'm just going to make like a little picture frame before I start. So once we have our picture frame drawn, we can cut out our face here, this picture. And I always like to do a rough cut first, and then a careful cut, and that's when I go real slow and right on the edge. And I need my hair and my face and my ears and my neck, but I don't need my shirt, if I can see that in the picture. So I'm just going to cut right around it real careful and try to get rid of the background. And you notice how I turn my paper. My scissors are always pointed away from me. There we go. So now you've got this floating head of yourself. So we're going to use a glue stick and glue that up near the top of the paper. Just anywhere near the top. And you could even tilt it a little bit if you want. I'm just going to put it just like that. So there we go. And now I have to draw my body. I'm going to be brave and use a Sharpie for that. If you want to do it with a pencil, you can, and then go over it with a Sharpie, and then erase the pencil later, but I'm just going to be brave and go straight for the Sharpie. So if my head's near the top, I know my feet need to be near the bottom. And before you even draw, you can just think about what you want to be doing. I want to be snowboarding in mine. So I've got to think about where my arms and legs are going to go and how they're going to be. But head near the top, feet near the bottom, and then everything else should be shapes. Okay, so arms, right? It's basically like a rectangle. See that? And mine are out because I'm trying to keep my balance, because I'm pretending I'm snowboarding down a hill. So there's my coat. There we go. And then you can just add other little details. You could draw your hands too if you want. If you have short sleeves on your clothes, you could draw the lines, and then, but we'd have to color our skin color, and we'd have to try to match that later. But you can do it that way if you want. Alright, so once you've done that and you've drawn any other little things that you wanted to include, then you need the ground or the floor. So there we go. I did mine right there. If you wanted to do the floor, you could mix some tempera paint colors in a cup and paint the floor whatever color you wanted. But I'm gonna leave mine white. Actually, you know what? I think I'll make a really light blue, because sometimes the snow looks like that. So I'm gonna get those colors and I'm gonna mix them together in this cup. Now that I painted the ground or the floor or whatever I have in my painting, I'm going to do the background, and I'm going to do that with gold paint. So I've got some gold, and I've got to be very careful at the edges. I don't want to paint over my drawing, so I like to go nice and slow at the edges, and out here you can go really fast. but I'm going to work my way around and do the whole background. If you have like little spaces or little holes where you can see the negative space, don't forget that's background too. So like right here between my legs, I got to paint this because I can see through it, right? So I'm just going to keep going, paint really carefully, do my whole background with gold. I've got to be extra careful not to get paint on my face. Okay, the background's painted. If you want even more gold, once this is dry, you can just paint more gold on top of it and it'll just get even shinier. But now I have to let this dry before I can draw on my picture. Now that my paint's all dry, I can add patterns to my clothes. And Gustav Klimt really liked squares, triangles, and he even put like eyeballs on his in some of the clothes. And I think he saw that probably in art museum, Egyptian art. Sometimes you'll see the eye of Horus. So like on an Egyptian coffin, they might put an eye on the side. He liked that. So he would draw eyeballs and hide them and just repeat that over and over. But any flat design that repeats is a pattern. And it's okay if you make a mistake because nobody's really going to notice. You're going to fill up your clothing with so many patterns. So just be brave and use a Sharpie and see what you can come up with. So you can see I'm splitting my clothing up into different sections and I'm filling those with different patterns. And you can repeat patterns that you already used, but you can just use them somewhere else. You can color things in with the Sharpie too as you go. So once you've filled your clothing up with patterns, you can start to color them in. And what I like to do is just start with a color. Color something in, jump over here, color something else in, and I just keep jumping around with that one color. So back and forth across my paper until I've put that color everywhere. And that'll create balance and unity, and that way once I'm happy with it, I can just switch to another color and keep doing the same thing. Alright, so hopefully you saw how I jumped around when I was using each color each time, and that'll just give it variety and unity. You don't want all your orange, on one leg or something like that. You want to kind of spread the colors out. And the background's really shiny because it's gold. So to kind of unify it, I'm going to use some of those shiny colors in my clothes. So you see I'm not quite done coloring it. I've got some more white spots, so I'm just going to finish it with my metallic permanent markers. And I'm going to do it the same way. If I'm using gold, I'm just going to jump around kind of all over, and I'll just finish this picture that way. So there we go, all done. There's just one more thing we have to do, which is color this picture frame, color the border. And I'm using brown, but you can make it whatever color you want. And there it is, a Gustav Klimt style self-portrait. And I'm snowboarding in mine, but you can be doing whatever you want in yours. Just work hard and have fun.